Hey kids, it's Hex Ray Vision for number 19 of Tech Talk, coming to you live from Cuatro Cinco Studios. With my special guest so far is Adam from Vibra Finance. How you doing, Adam?
Good. Pleasure to be here. I'm sad to say that I will be bringing no tech and hopefully some talk. And glad to be here.
That's okay. That's okay. We had a Bit Finesse writing a small novel in the chat before we went live. So I don't know if we just woke up or what. We got Bobby Hexelrod. We got Flat Earth Underground, who's already wrenched. I like to see a nice sea of wrenches in my chat. When I was on with the Hexiest Man in the World and Gen Hex. That was pretty cool because that was the sea of wrenches too. It was all wrenches in the chat. Loving it. We got Brissology here. What's up, Briss? Good to see you, man. That was good. Leroy. We got Leroy C4. What's up? My meme dealer sent me a good meme this morning. He serves a very valuable purpose in the Hex community. Keeps me laughing. Awesome.
We have the best community in all of crypto, man. I mean, last night, I'm in a bunch of different Discord groups with different communities to purposely get out there. And I swear the last week, I have never had as many people reach out to me interested about Hex that were just joking before, just laughing at it, making fun of it. But now they're like, hey man, what's really going on? It's real. And it's awesome.
Yeah. And if you guys go all the way back to my first stream on my channel, you might recognize the guy next to me here. This is Rogue Herbalist on Telegram, and he and Eco Builder and I went out and did a field trip. Would you say field trip?
Road trip,
field trip out to an intentional community in Utah called the OSR, and basically that was a bunch of people out there far from I would say probably an hour and a half from the closest town.
It's interesting to check out communities out there.
Settlement, yeah. And so there's a big group out there that's trying to grow their own food and run all that stuff. We might be getting a little bit of an echo on my end or your end. Let me make sure I got this on my headphones here. There we go. Yeah. So, anyways, we're just jumping up here on Tech Talk, but he's a good friend of mine, actually. An army buddy. We went and suffered and sweated in the sand together back in 03, 04.
It's almost 20 years almost.
Oh my gosh, 20 years.
Can you believe it?
But you can see by our faces we're nearing 100 years old.
We got the no shave till pulse launch.
Yeah, no shave till pulse launch going on. Looks like you got a head start on me.
Yeah, I've been waiting a while still. We all have.
We got Red Squirrel. He's always in here. Good to see you. Oi, oi, Red Squirrel. Hex on Air. Godfather J6. These guys are loyal. We got Crypto Harpy. What's up? Tin Top. What's up, Hexicans? What's up, Tin Top? The title of today is Perps and Proof of Work Drama. Right? Because that's what this whole week has been. The diamond hands coming out, the perps, people minting the perps and getting into the perps and the diamond hands. And then, of course, the proof of work drama, where you have some people that are very strong proponents of proof of work saying, hey, get over there, figure some stuff out, buy some stuff while it's cheap. It can take off. And then you got a lot of people just saying, I'm good. Like myself, I think it's more out of laziness than out of fear. I just want it as easy to use as the Pulsechain testnet. That's my point of view on it. What do you think about the prover? You've been over there and been snooping around, right, Adam?
I actually have not, bro. I just was so much going on personally, and with the amount that it's worth right now, I mean, I just haven't done it. I'm going to check it out for sure, but it looks interesting. I think anytime there's arbitrage or opportunity for money to be made, so there's going to be people there. But I don't expect anything of it. If it shoots up, I'll definitely be there and some stakes and definitely buy some shortly. But no rush. What about you?
Yeah. Like I said, until I can just go up and switch the network at the top of my MetaMask and then go to Uniswap fork and have liquidity there and buy. Because I mean, like if you go in there right now, you got to figure out Kyber network. You got to get a lot of stuff going on, and then you're only buying like $20 to $80 worth of coins at once because the liquidity is low. You're going to push that price against yourself so crazy, and I think that's what happened when we hit a penny. So Hex hit a penny on the proof of work, according to I was watching Randy Hilarski's stream last night, and it looks like it hit a penny over there, which is awesome. Everyone's talking about parity, price parity. I think it's really easy to hit price parity when we're only at 3 cents, right? Like if we hit 3 cents on both chains, that's 6 cents. Like we've been there before. That's not a crazy valuation for Hex, even in this market, But yeah, I want it to be a lot easier, like coffee and Johnny has said. I agree with a lot of coffee and chaotic creations sentiments, which is basically, if I'm wrong, then I missed out on a speculation opportunity. If I'm right, cool, I got free money, free coins on another network, right? So there's really it really is highly speculative. It is really a pain in the butt to get over there. It's a pain in the butt to try to get the money back off right now. At least for me, from my perspective, there's a lot of people that are happy to set it up and figure it out. And the cool thing about the Hexican community is everyone shares the secret sauce, right? As soon as someone figures out something cool, they share it with the whole community. Like the generosity and knowledge here is insane. Right off the bat, you had that killer tutorial from David Feeder and of how to hook it up and how to get on there. And I mean, we just have such a gift of knowledge and people that are really smart sharing the knowledge here, that I'm sure as things grow and progress and things get easier, you're going to see it on YouTube, in short order.
So I went on proof of work and I did a swap from some shit coins into some USDC, and I got about 500,000 USDC, and it makes me feel really good because it looks like a lot, but until Circle actually supports some type of stable, or I guess Circle's not going to support USDC until there's some type of stable on there, it really doesn't matter. And you have the ETH or ETHW, and then you have the wrapped ETH, and those right now are kind of acting as a stable. I don't know how to compare some of the other coins I have to a stable on there, so I'd probably need a little bit more tech talk on how to check some of those prices and how to compare on that chain. Can you hear me okay?
I want to move the microphone a little closer to him because I'm loud and deaf, and he's soft-spoken and thoughtful. So
it sounds loud and clear. I don't have any issues at all.
Okay, cool. Tim Top says, so glad I got in early and secured my perp copies on ETH POW. That's right. You might want to be over there getting your copies of everything on POW if you think that in the future it's going to be worth going and harvesting for sure. Red Squirrel saying hi to KD. Apex Crypto Pulse Underground in the chat. What's up, folks? Let's make sure that he has DJ Pollywood's got a bunch of carrots in here.
We got some gray in there. That's not good.
That I can't handle this. This is crazy.
Give him
Apex Crypto, reach down inside your pocket. You're gonna find a wrench down there. Same with you, DJ Pollywood. You got a wrench. I had to teach. My daughter was on stream with me yesterday, she doesn't like me to tell people she's my daughter. We'll just call her Hunter. But she was, I tell her she's got to get more excited when she says, you got a wrench. I was trying to get her all Oprah'd up when we were giving out wrenches yesterday. So it takes time to figure out how to give out wrenches excitedly. Red Squirrel says there's Uniswap front ends, LP, V2, and 3. And Katie says, I heard Kyber Network got hacked a few months ago. DJ Pollywood, like I said, coming with the carrots. Mixed, aka J.A. Soul, is in the house with a lot of emojis, using all the emojis there. And Red Squirrel says, Tin Top, well done. I got in about a day after launch, picked up some nice bags. Tin Top says, I didn't go big at all, but I got a small position to grow. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, anytime you're going in something that may or may not be around in the future, it's good to put in money that you're okay if it never comes back, like speculative money. Like if you're walking through a casino in Vegas and $20 isn't a big deal, go ahead and play a hand of blackjack. Go ahead, throw it on the roulette table on black. But you definitely don't want to mortgage your house. You don't want to emergency end stake what you got on the proof of stake network. And I'm taking a lot of my hints from the OA. The OA hasn't done anything on proof of work yet or on ETH welfare, right?
Yeah. I think Grayscale announced that they're going to claim theirs. So that should at least provide some liquidity. Or be
Mix says, so overwhelmed these days. Just pay attention, not pay less. I like that. DJ Pollywood has a strange symbol.
It's cryptic.
It's cryptic. I think this is a little wink to the Illuminati.
I was guessing
we're watching this.
Illuminati shout out.
I dig it. I don't know what it is, but I dig it. And then we've got Red Squirrel Tin Top. I didn't go in big either. Went a long way. Is that a wrench in my pocket? Yeah, that's a wrench in your pocket, dude. I'm gonna clip that bit from Crypto Kool-Aid. He does this dirty ASMR on his microphone, giving away wrenches. It's pretty good. So we'll look for that little clip, or you can just jump back to the Steak and Chill with Hex Ray and friends a few days ago with Gamma Ray, my son. Pressology says the Hex Daily Payout yesterday was 6.77 per T-share. We had 12.7 million Hex in penalties. Dude, that was a good day. That was a really nice day.
The T-share rate is getting so high. It's crazy. We're already over 24,000.
It's always creeping, isn't it? Like you're watching it and then like you don't pay attention for a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden you're, that's 500 more than it was last time I checked, or 1,000 more.
It's going up it's 750. It's going up quick now. Some of these huge end stakes.
Briss is quoting 41.5% APY. DJ Pollywood. Now, I think this is kind of like a face. This looks kind of like a Rick and Morty face.
Yeah.
If you squint your eyes a little bit. Right?
I see it.
I see it. Tin Top says, Apex Crypto LOL reminds me of that Vatalik meme. Looked like he had a snap-on socket set in his pocket. Oh, goodness gracious. And that's a tough thing about Vatalik too, right? Is like he's a genius. He's literally like a savant, probably on the spectrum genius that figured out how to start the Turing Complete network and allow for smart contracts to be on chain, right? Like he gave it so much more operability than Bitcoin had. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to figure out a way to stop it from getting congested, or a way, to make a simple programming language simpler than Solidity that wouldn't have so many hacks and vulnerabilities, right? And I don't know if he'll ever figure out how to catch up and finish the Ethereum project.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a process. I mean, he's already saying it's 5 to 6 years until it's fully complete. So, I mean, that's 8 to 10 to me.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is they were at the right time, at the right place at the right time. They came in early. They got the early mover advantage. They made an insane amount of money on their coin. And I think a lot of people that get lucky that way and come into billions of dollars, they believe that it's their business acuity or their business IQ that got them there, when really it was luck and technical IQ, right? So I say in chat all the time, Ethereum couldn't run a hot dog stand. They know absolutely nothing about business or people or customers or customer service. And then you got Richard Hart, which is what I appreciate so much about him, is, you know, he ran that stereo store out of his front lawn in Florida. Then he sold mortgages and sex toys and software on the internet, and just continued to grow and learn. And he knows a lot about business. He probably knows more about business than I'll ever figure out. And then you match that with the genius of understanding the tech and what the tech's useful for and the market. And I think that's why he's the best jockey to bet on at this point in crypto. Like, a lot of people are betting on the horses. I'm betting on the jockeys. You know, a lot of people are betting on Cardano's founder. What's his name again?
Charles.
Yeah, Charles Hoskinson. And he's a smart dude too, but he does not have a business bone in his body either.
No, the Vatalik upgrade just came out. I just saw some shit about that. And
yeah,
again, it's exactly, who do you want behind the scenes as your leader? I mean, there's nobody else like Richard. I mean, he's as smart as everybody else, and he's not hiding anything. You know what you're going to get, and you know he delivers. Where is anybody that he has screwed over, you know, lied to, scammed? There's nobody. And once you get to that level, somebody's going to come out at some point. So
yeah, and complain for sure. Hex Lives in the chat. Let's hit up some Foxwood poker. And then Bristology says Hex Ray sabotaged Vatalik's Photoshop and slipped a wrench in his pocket. Tin top or a blue pill in Vatalik's drink. Hey, I'm not putting anything in anybody's drink, okay? I let them put it in their own drink. We got Facing Reality in the house. Let's go. What up, fam? Facing Reality. Good to see you, man. Sorry for the caps. No, I was trying to yell it for you. Red Squirrel. Yeah. Facing Reality. Coming in hot, coming in excited with the tech talk. So yeah, that's really my take on it. I mean, we could probably have someone that's a lot more knowledgeable, that's been poking in and out of the bridges and the dexes of proof of work and telling us what the slippage actually is to get the money in and out of there. Especially in chat, it sounds like a lot of people here have been figuring out the proof of work and the ETH welfare, as they call it. And I don't know. I mean,
is there any liquidity on Ethf?
I have no clue. Oh, we got Matty Allen, Hex Therapy Live. He's definitely one of the proponents saying, hey, get over there, support the community, show them what we got. This is a great onboarding tool. It's a great marketing tool. And I definitely agree with those sentiments, that a lot of people are coming into contact with ETH or with the Hex community through there. You know, Vatalik's mining for gold meme is amazing. Still makes me laugh. What's up, Maddie? Hex on air, elbow cough. Yeah. And I mean, that's the other thing, is that Katie giving some love to Matty Allen, Hex Therapy Live. We got a lot of the Ethereum that we put up with, we've had to hold our nose through. Like, Ethereum was a necessary evil, and that's seriously what they still are. They're still just a necessary evil. We don't know when the proof of stake network is going to get clogged. We don't know if they're going to decide to jack our fees up in the Hex community, right? So proof of stake is still where everything is right now, but it's still, like I said, we're all still waiting for Pulse. We're all still waiting for Richard to come out with a layer one that we know at the very least is going to be friendly to the Hexican community, and hopefully it's just going to be, you know, way more efficient, way smoother, and you know, bring a lot of value to the crypto space. You know.
Yeah.
Big Kahuna says minted Deci on proof of work and ETF. So Big Kahuna, he's going deep. He's going deep, and that's the nice thing though, is that Alex from Hedron and Gold Key and Dipcatcher, they went and built front ends and interoperability on these new chains, right? And so as Hexicans, we actually have access to a lot of things and a lot of front ends that a lot of the rest of crypto hasn't bothered to build yet. So that's one of the perks of being a Hexican, is just the amazing hardworking community that we have. Yeah. Hex Life says, I've been using Maxi to get to EthW and Ethf.
Kraken works too. I use them because New York's so limited, and you don't have to KYC with Kraken, unless you want to deposit a certain limit. But if you're just doing small stuff under like 20 grand, it's a $5,000 a day limit. So you don't need to KYC. It's on there. It's easy. So I actually have a little bit of the EthW. I just haven't had time to go over and just mess around. But if anything, even if there's not much liquidity, people are going to go and check it out, and they're going to see all the pairs, hexes, all the liquidity. So people that don't know what hex is, at least now they're going to start to see it. So if anything, we're going to get more exposure. It's a good thing in all ways, in my opinion.
It's like seeing putting up a bunch of billboards on I would still consider it an empty highway. Like Tin Top says here, Ethf welfare is a ghost town except for Hexicans. So yeah, if someone wanders onto that highway, they're going to see a whole bunch of hex billboards, and I'm happy for that everywhere it goes. Matty Allen says, so many good men in hex spitting lies about HexW, like Hex on Coffee. Learn the truth of my blogs at hexw.info. I don't believe. Well, I haven't listened to Hexo as much as I've listened to Coffee. I do watch Hexo's daily stream, but most of his is what I'm doing right now, which is basically just interacting with the chat. But most of the stuff that Coffee says, I tend to agree with. He usually holds his opinions until or he's reserved in what he'll go out on a limb and talk about. Cookies and Crypto in the house says these ETH forks are a gift that keeps on giving for Hexicans. And Kraken is good. However, I found out yesterday that they have 1 week confirmation time on EthW deposits. And then Hex Life says, it is fun checking out the Ethf and EthW. I'm not using the money I got from selling Pulse Doge at the top. LOL. Nice. Yeah, that's the other thing is, like, let's not forget who the miners are. Like, the miners are these extortion pirates that took advantage of congested networks and took advantage of everyone that they could, every chance they could, and just they just basically like manipulated the network when they could, and they're not good people by any means. Miners are worse than the mob when it comes to the extortion racket that they ran. And the fact that these miners, as far as I can see, have done little to no work. They just kind of said, well, we forked it and we're the miners, so just keep bringing us money, right? That's the kind of the feeling I get from the miners is like, like we were robbing people on the highway before, so we just expect people to turn onto our highway and keep getting robbed, right?
Rob the half price or 50-80% off.
Yeah, so basically your choices are pay extortion money to the VCs that own the souls of Ethereum now, or pay extortion fees to the miners that we were already paying before. Either way, I don't feel like we're getting a good product or a good service for the money that we've spent over the last 2 years of Hex. If you would have put half of the money that I put in fees into Hex, you would retire a small family. No doubt. Like, the amount of money we spent, especially during the bull run on fees, was insane.
Staker app, just for convenience, spending $50, $60 a transaction just for a swap or $30 to send. I remember the meetup that came to Albany. We gave everybody that came that set up a Staker wallet, we sent them Hex. and sending them 555 hex was like half of what the ETH gas was. So it was crazy how much money was made, and yeah, how sustainable is that long term?
Right. Bristology says, I would like a refund, sir. And then Maddie says, OMG, that's not true about miners. We chose to give them value because we want security. They don't make a profit. They break even. Think about what you're saying, friends. Well, first of all, I guess voluntarily we paid them the fee, but there wasn't an alternative network for us to use. So it's kind of like AT&T having a monopoly in your state and saying, well, you're choosing to give AT&T your money for long distance. But if there's no other long distance companies in your town, you're going to get extorted and taken advantage of by whoever has the monopoly. And for a long time, even for now, Ethereum proof of stake still has a monopoly on the network that people run their smart contracts on, right?
You know, Hexray, you're doing some mining off your little thing on proof of work right now. How's that going? Have you experienced some of the things?
I tried to turn on my rig because I got a pretty powerful card in here. I was trying to figure it out, and unfortunately, the GeForce people put a limit on my card, so I couldn't mine certain cryptos because they couldn't. The graphics card companies were selling out, and none of the gamers could buy the graphics cards. So they started putting the limit, the LHR is what they call it, on there to make it hard for you to use them for mining. And while I was trying to find the specific driver that you need to unlock your memory card to mine, I was watching other people on YouTube with their tutorials and stuff. And the other guys on YouTube had way nicer rigs, and they were spending like $20 a day in electricity and getting 80 cents of the proof of work, So anyways, going back to what I was saying, a monopoly is not the same thing as a fair market, and it's not the same thing as voluntarily doing business with somebody. That would be my argument to Maddie, and my respectful argument. And then he also says proof of work doesn't have to be expensive if we support forks that take the load off. NFTs made expensive transactions. Yeah, that's true. It is the NFTs, it is the crypto kitties, but you can actually see the miners spoofing the network at times of high traffic, making the traffic worse, pushing the fees higher. So they were spending less in transactions spoofing the network than they were making in fees. So that's straight up deceit, in my opinion. Tin Top, Hex Live, I wish I had my limit order hit at $9.42 to sell PLXD. Now I'm stuck with it for a while. Goose Inc. made it live, happy to be here, great stuff. And then Maddie says, we are the reason we didn't have a different network with cheap fees. Now we have a cheap fees, and everyone's acting like they're allergic. I would say they're probably allergic to the barrier to entry of getting on and off the networks, and the liquidity does make it hard if you do make a profit on proof of work. It's hard to bring it back because like I said, you're pushing the price against yourself over there every time you move in and out of the network, and every time that you trade on the network with low volume. And I mean, if that were the truth, if it was true that we just needed more networks to make things cheaper, then we would have copied you could have just taken the Hex contract and put it on BSC, and you could have put it on Solana, and you could have put it on what was the other one, Polkadot and Phantom. You could have put that on all these other networks before if it was just about lessening the load on the network. But I mean, we didn't do that because we didn't want to deal with all of the vulnerabilities on those other networks, and we also didn't want to just pay all those other network fees as well. That's my opinion.
Maddie needs an invite to the stream.
Yeah, we could bring him on. I wouldn't mind talking to him live.
That'll up your tech talk a little bit. Have some back
a little more tech, a little less talk.
Yeah. I've never mined anything in my life. One of my clients, he mined Litecoin like 4 years ago, and he owns a building, and he had solar panels on the entire roof. So he was cutting everything he could at all costs, and it was still like a nickel on the dollar.
Yeah. We got a couple dogs in the background, please. See, they heard us arguing and the drama about POW, and now the dogs, they got their own drama going on. I blame ourselves.
Yeah, multi-chain world, that's the problem. We need interoperability. We need things to be easier. No bridges. No week waiting for your deposits to clear. It's too much when you got a full day, you got kids to deal with. Are you gonna go figure all this stuff out, plug all this stuff into MetaMask when they need, it's just everyone's got, if you got the time to do it, I encourage everyone to do it. Personally, I just haven't had the time. I will 100% check it out. It's basically a test run for Pulsechain when it comes out, in a sense. So I'm excited for it. I'm not into the tech, or do I really talk much about it? I'll leave that to you and Maddie. But
right. Well, and I was kind of getting in I wouldn't call it an argument, but I would say a disagreement with Johnny Chaos yesterday, because I love Johnny's sentiments and I love his perspective. But he was saying, like, we're not going to see 1 penny hex. And in my opinion, I was like, we could definitely see 1 penny hex. Not because hex is worth a penny, but because the markets are irrational, because people are irrational. People are pushed by their emotions of fear and greed. They don't just buy when it's red and sell when it's green, which, it's simple, but as human beings go.
I mean, you expect the unexpected. That's what I would say.
Hex Life says, I just got a helium miner I ordered like 2 years ago. Bristology says, I'm a Hex miner. I got my t-shirts doing the hard work every day. Hey, Bristology, that's really good, because if you got t-shirts, you are DCAing in all the markets. And yeah, your Hex stakes are miners that don't require you to run the electricity and stuff like that.
Hey, on that Hex Live comment, his helium miner, that's just a network validating a wireless or cell network, right? The helium miner. It'd be nice to get something like that helium miner on the Pulsechain for some type of validation of the network.
So you're saying that people can run nodes on their cell phones with the helium network?
Hex Live probably could answer a little better, but I think the helium miner is a validation of a wireless network that they're putting out. I'd have to have him answer that. I'm gonna
send Hex Live a message as well here and see if we can get him in here.
Maddie wanted
to link to Maddie
too. If you want to put the link in there. I was trying to say to Maddie, but I don't know why my.
Yeah, I sent a link to Maddie. He might be busy. Maddie's an adult with adult responsibilities, and he's a pretty busy dude. So if he can't make it on, I wouldn't fault him for that. I'm sending a link to Hex Live, and I'm sending a link to Maddie as well. See if they want to join us here. There we go, Maddie. Maddie, welcome to the stream. You look dashing in your coat as always.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for coming on here. And this is probably much more efficient than texting. Although you are a very
I've got like
typist.
I've got like half an hour before I meet with my devs here.
Awesome.
For Smart Vault, and so I'm ready to do it, man. I want to hear all the FUD that you have. There's people out there, Hexologist and Crypto Coffee and Johnny Chaos. The words that are coming out of their mouth are untrue and they're FUD, And then they followed that up with, but we're not fudding. And so that's okay, because we all have to learn at some point. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those good men. Okay. I wouldn't be retired. I wouldn't be able to have, I mean, and if it wasn't for the Pulsechain meetup in Vegas, I wouldn't have gotten COVID and spent 10 days studying the shit out of EthW. So let's go, baby. Let's talk about all the things that are not true. Okay.
Okay, great. And obviously, I mean, if someone says I have a fear, or I find this uncertain, or I doubt this,
Yeah.
that's literally.
Let me tell you what's wrong with that.
Right?
Okay, we're gonna go through every single thing you can think of, and I'm gonna explain it to you. So the reason why that is hypocritical and wrong is because the way that we got rich was by taking a risk on something that people didn't understand very well. Okay, so to go out there and tell people that there's not opportunity because there is risk is false. Okay. The reason why opportunities exist is because there's risk and because it's early and because we don't know how it's going to work out. If you were here on day 3 of Hex like I was, it was way less certain than Hex on EthW is today. So am I wrong there? Did we have to take risk when we got into Hex?
No, we definitely did. Are you referring to the risk of Hex or the risk of Ethereum?
So let's talk about what people think is risky about EthW, because there's a lot of misinformation there too. But the first point I'm making is just that it's hypocritical to say, I got rich in Hex on EthW because I took risk in the first week that it came out, but now I'm going to go on stream and tell people that the same exact contract code running in the same exact security model of proof of work is now, and it's cheaper. Now that's too risky for new people who are going to get wrecked. You don't know that. And so it's hypocritical to say, I got rich from taking risks, but the new people now should not do that. Like, it's up to them whether they want to take the risk or not, but they're the ones who are going to benefit. And, if somebody could tell me a good reason why Hex on EthW is a problem, then now we could have a good debate. But as I can go through, the reasons that people are giving are literally technically wrong. And it's embarrassing to this community. When you say that there could be a replay attack, what you're confusing, and I'm not saying you said that, but I've heard that. Crypto Coffee said that, right? The reason why you can't have a replay attack in this situation is because the chain ID changed. The replay attacks occur when two different forks compete for the same brand name. So if you have Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and they both wanted to have the same transaction, or they wanted the same chain ID. So in Ethereum, the chain ID is 1. And we knew that the proof of stake people, Ethereum 2.0 was going to take chain ID 1. And so the chain ID for EthW is 10,001. And so because they weren't fighting for the same brand name, which is represented by the chain ID, there's no possibility of a replay attack. And if there was a replay attack on a bridge that had an admin key for $1,500, then that's a cool story, bro. But I can't get a positive story written about Hex for $1,500. So why are we listening to a negative story about Hex that got written for $1,500? Because that's all that was hacked on this bridge that nobody's ever heard of. So like, if you're talking about a replay attack, you just haven't done your research, because that doesn't apply in this case.
Okay, so you're saying that the risk of replay attack is not the same as it is on the other ones.
No, I'm saying that there is no risk. There is zero risk of a replay attack because a replay attack is impossible when you have two separate chain IDs. That's what I'm saying. Is that it's zero. It's not that it's just smaller. It's zero. It's technically impossible to have a replay attack when you change the chain ID.
And then here's one of your comments. HexW and Hexf offer competition to keep miners honest. Vatalik never wanted that because he got rich from high fees because he had to buy ETH to transact, which attracted more miners.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to look at the incentives in a system to understand like what's going on. And I think that the competition between EthW and Ethf is like healthy. I think that's a good thing because it keeps everyone more honest than they would have been. Like there's never been a situation where a smart contract that paid trustless yield got copied onto multiple chains all at once. Like that's never happened before. And so when you start comparing, what were you comparing it to? You were comparing it to side chains, right? You gave an example.
Networks?
Yeah, you gave an example of.
No, my example was like a monopoly, like AT&T.
Arbitrum is Arbitrum a side chain?
I just watch everyone's videos and just take it in. I don't tell anyone to do anything. Everyone just
Phantom. You talked about Phantom.
Yeah, that was one of the that I mentioned.
That's a side chain.
Oh,
right?
okay.
That's a different layer. So now you're talking about different layers, right? And so that's another area where people need to get their technicals correct, right? Because if you're talking about you know, you can wrap Hex and you can do it on Matic and you know you can take it on Arbitrum and all these things. Like now we're talking about a different transaction layer. And that's a completely different thing. That's not the same as having a system state copy and you have your coin, you have the same contract code on both sides with nothing in between it. You don't have anything to wrap it. You don't have an admin key in between you and the code. Like this is the good stuff. And so the other thing that pisses me off about this is literally everybody's just invalidating the narrative that we've developed for Pulsechain this whole time. What, you don't like cheap transactions? You're not excited enough to learn about that all of a sudden? We've been complaining about transaction fees forever. So like it's because of this misinformation that the good men who have educated us about Hex, they haven't done their homework in this case. And it's upsetting to me.
Well, that is a good point though, Matty, that this is like getting us, this is Pulsechain came early basically. It's a test run for everybody to kind of play around, see something new. And for a lot of people, you know, this is their first time. So I agree that, you know, it can't, we should look at it that way. And I haven't told anybody, don't go do it. You know, I haven't had time to do it myself. So I've just literally told everybody I haven't done it yet. It just doesn't look like there's much liquidity, but where there's arbitrage, there's opportunity and people will be there. So, you know,
and I don't want to confuse the point of like waiting is fine. Like if you're waiting, you're doing the right thing. But if you are the top 2 influencers in Hex, other than Richard Hart, and you're going on and you're saying things that are technically wrong, and you're telling lies because you didn't do your research, that is the problem. It's not the problem that everybody's not buying up the price. I don't even care. I bought a bunch of Hex over there at the same price it is right now, you know, about 15 cents of a penny, and I staked it. So it's like I don't care anymore about. I'm not there to trade, but I'm there to learn, and I'm there to like kind of set the record straight too, and like experiment and figure out what it's all about, because it's a dress rehearsal for Pulsechain, and it's historic. This has never happened before, so it's exciting. There's a lot of people at Tangent, Jimrat Crypto, Just Ask Jesse, Hans. There's like this whole list of people who have figured it out and they're excited about it. And like the bear market is way easier when you've got something cool to do, you know?
Yeah, we definitely have some time on our hands as a community while we're in limbo, waiting for this market to finish crashing and waiting for Pulsechain to launch.
So if you want to use EthW, you only need 2 things, and you can go to hexw.info, which is the blog I made, and you can connect to the network. So it's like Pulsechain. You have to like enter in the network settings, and so I've got a link for that and a screenshot, and then you can use go.tshare.app, which is my front end that's been running flawlessly for 15 months on Ethereum. And you can use it on your Hex on Ethereum or your Hex on EthW. And You don't have to buy EthW. You don't have to bridge anything in. You already have all your coins all your Hex coins are already over there. And for like the amount of dust Ethereum that you had in your wallet, that now it can buy you hundreds of transactions. So you can learn how to provide liquidity and yield farm. There's a Hedron front end that allows you, an Icosa front end that allows you to provide V3 liquidity. So that's like setting a buy order. And I just learned about that for the first time because it's cheap over there. And I don't think miners in the past, like we always wondered if Binance was like spoofing the network fee. Like maybe it would have been profitable for Binance to like stop people from getting on there, but I think that would have been really expensive. Well, so if anything, maybe the people who had Ethereum and Ethereum was running up, maybe they were the ones paying to like spam the network. But
you do remember that the day after Ethereum accused them of it, it stopped magically. You remember that?
Yeah.
Ethereum came out and said, "Hey, BSC is basically clogging our network," and then
I think they made an upgrade to the protocol around that time to like fix miner extracted value or something weird. So like there are games that get played, but we saw high fees a couple of months ago, and that was due to network congestion, which is due to popularity, which is the reason why Hex is still with staking 1,000x higher than it was even if you didn't buy at the all-time low. Like if high fees came back, it wouldn't be just because of the miners. It would be because of the value on the network, because the miners can't extract something that isn't there, and they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot if we can just, basically switch over. I mean, now we have options, right? Now we have 3 chains with Hex on it, and you all got a 146x on your free copy already without doing anything back when it spiked up to 30% or 40% of a penny. But it's like, even now you're sitting at like a 50x of the practically worthless like Hex that you got. Now it's like it's worth something over there.
Yeah.
And there was a stream earlier today that was like the coolest stream I've ever seen that wasn't Richard Hart's. The coolest stream I've ever seen that wasn't Richard Hart's was like Jim Rat Crypto this morning with like Jesse breaking down all the advanced strategies for how people get screwed with liquidity pools. I mean, it's so good.
It was so
look who it is.
Uniswap, it was so good. Yes.
Another legend joins the stream. Dip Catcher, how you doing this morning?
Hey guys. Sorry, I didn't see what time this was, but happy to hop on.
Yeah, you're always welcome. Like you said, we try to get as much tech and as little talk as possible, and it is now getting way more technical than it was when Adam and I were talking about our favorite color. So appreciate it. Now you've been working this whole week on the diamond hand contract. So not only can people join the perpetual pools of the 1, 3, 7, and 10 year marks, they can also lock those up, put their money where their mouth is. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the diamond hands, they let users, mainly users who are just using the pools as an alternative to staking on their own, where they don't plan on selling no matter what the price is. They can lock up their pool tokens, and then they earn rewards from the people that don't keep that commitment. So if you join the diamond hands contract and then you early unlock, then you pay a 20% penalty on the amount that you early unlock. And then that gets distributed to all the people that did stay in. So that's what we rolled out a couple days ago now. And so you have about 27 hours to lock in your perpetual minting and then join the diamond hands if you want.
So it's kind of like a game of chicken, right? Where you're just like, hey, if you break your word before I do, then I get part of your stack, right?
Yeah, it's like you're betting 20% of the amount that you put into diamond hands that you are going to stay throughout the whole time.
All right. I like it a lot. Yeah. Like the underwater staring contest.
Yeah, it's like kind of like Russian roulette style, but a little less chance involved. But but I think probably it was actually really difficult to come up with that penalty because with the different lengths, that penalty means something entirely different. Because like for base, for instance, it's unlikely that base earns even 20%, and
so you could actually lose more than you even stand to gain. If
it's not so much
chance take your base to someone that didn't.
You could lose more than your principal, or you could lose your part of your principal, but not.
Yeah, you could lose part of your principal on base that doesn't, whereas in Deci, like it measured in like dollars or measured in hex, because in Deci it'll probably earn like 12%, but on Lucky, for instance, that earns like 23%, and so the price could go like the price for base probably can't really reasonably go above that 12%.
Those numbers are genius, though. I think you got it right, because now people can use base as something that's more of a penalty to themselves to keep themselves more locked in than they would on the other contracts. And they're still earning something that, in the sense of I can shoot myself in the foot, now that game can be played to the point where it might be better for some people who are traders, and the people who are in base are more likely to be traders than the people who are in Deci. So you nailed it. Well done, sir.
Yeah. It was kind of a last minute change because the original plan was to have the penalties scale down from, on base, it was going to be 36.9%. And then it would scale down per length, where Deci was 3.69%. But just when I was just kind of doing the final math, I was like, okay, with such a low penalty, that's just like basically caps. Like the most you could possibly earn would be 3.69% on that one. And also it was just kind of confusing to like just telling people how it works. Like, oh, the 36.9 for base, but 18% for this, and that, and just like it was confusing. And so 20% flat across the board, kind of Pareto principle, like, seems kind of natural. And with like the longer ones where the price could reach like a 20% premium, or at least that, then maybe there's going to be more unstaking as people lock in gains, or they're because if the premium goes up and the hex price goes up, like their ROI could be much greater when that 20% is just kind of like, okay, I'll tolerate that 20% penalty because I'm gaining this amount measured in dollars or measured in hex. And so I think that it kind of does kind of balance out. And it's like at one point where it's like, okay, well, like no matter what it is, the market will just kind of price in and just like adjust to that. And probably the end result that the payout is going to be the same, whether we do 20% or 10%, like it would just change the behavior and probably the same result would happen. So we kind of just stuck with 20. And I think, and Maddie, I'm glad that you think that that's a good plan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maddie is a fan of accountability, and most of
it.
all, self-accountability, right?
That's right. That's what Hex means to me. Pay your future self. Don't trade.
Right. Now, going back in time, this is not by any means an attack on you, Maddie. But when Hedron came out, you had a lot of critical takes on Hedron when it came out, because you felt like it allowed people to get out of serving their stake, right?
Correct.
That was your first opinion of it. Now, since then, you've changed your mind on that and seen it as a possible positive for the community, or do you still hold the same opinion?
So I so I consulted people who are smarter than me, and I listened to what everybody was saying. I thought it was important for me to like say my opinion, because I think that it was different, and we need to learn from each other. And I have since softened my opinion that like tradable hex is similar to liquid hex. And so, and the majority of the APY comes from time locking. And so I still think Hedron is a vampire attack on hex. I used to think that Maxi was in the same vein, but now I've completely changed my mind. I am a fan of the Diamond Hands contract. I think it's brilliant. I think Dip Catcher's intentions and transparency and his commitment to hex and the true values of Hexicans are on point. I commend him for all of his work. He's crushing it. I too am like building, something called Smart Vault that will allow people to time lock their Pulsechain and Pulsex tokens. And I listened to the community feedback. I think it was around the same time that you were developing the Diamond Hands thing. I was hearing feedback that we needed incentives for Smart Vault more than just like you won't trade and lose that way.
You won't wreck yourself.
And so the latest like numbers that we're playing with is that you can only take out 10% of your time lock early, and you get a 1% penalty on that. And if the price is appreciated 100x, then that 1% that you're paying from your principal is now 100% of your principal that's paid out as a bonus to everybody who left their 10% in. And so there's no inflation, and but there are rewards. And so that the ability to be able to borrow from your future self, and then you'll be able to pay it back.
Yeah, I think that I really commend
reactivate your yield
for being able to step back and take feedback, because it's very difficult for most of us to take feedback from other people, especially if we disagree with it. And so is that what you're really hoping happens with the EthW chain? Is that people step back, seek out some information from people that understand it better technically, and may either change their tune or go back and correct their statements?
Yeah, I mean, like Hex will live on whether people are telling the truth about it or not. And I think that I'm just like making my voice heard, that no replay attack isn't an issue. And, no, you don't have to bridge value in, and, no, this isn't bad for Hex on Ethereum. You already have your free copies over there. Like, you already have cheap transactions, and let's rejoice until somebody points out something that's actually bad. This we know that so far what we know of it is that it's good for us. It's good for everybody. And so I made the point already about risk, and I really appreciate you guys having me on. As I said, I have a dev call here in 1 minute, but I think you guys have this opportunity now to interview Dipcatcher and give him the spotlight, because there's only 1 or 2 more days left for people to participate in the exciting things that he's doing. So I tip my hat to you all, good sirs. And
Maddie, I really appreciate what you just said. That really means a lot to me, and so thank you very much.
Man. Thank you so much for coming on, and go back to work. I know you're a busy guy.
Right on.
You're always welcome on my channel.
Hey, thanks, guys. Good to see you, Adam. Good to see you guys. Peace.
Thanks. So how many hours do people have to mint the perps and lock the diamond hands and mint team with Maxi?
28 hours.
And after the 28 hours, you won't be able to mint your team, but you will be able to stake it. Correct?
So you, if you want to earn in the first year, you need to stake your team at that before the minting phase ends
to be eligible for the bonuses and incentives of the first year.
Yeah, just in the first year. So
okay,
I'm gonna probably in the hour, like as soon as that happens, I'm probably gonna actually just take off the staking front end, just so people don't like accidentally, or maybe I'll add like a serious warning that says something like, you're not locking in for the first year, you're locking in for the second year as of now. So I'll probably need to add some type of warning or something to the page just to prevent people from like in that last minute to be like unintentionally locking in for 2 years, but only getting paid for the second year.
Okay. So yeah. So if they stake their team after that deadline, they're locked in for the second year.
Yeah. And they will experience an early unstake penalty if they unlock that is, I do need to add like a nice warning.
A big red button. Hex Life says we're in a multi-chain world. Things are getting more and more complicated. IQ test is always happening. I like that. And I did send a link to Hex Live if he's able to jump on And then Matty can type so damn fast. He could probably debate me in real time just typing. But I appreciate that, and I'll have to get to another time where I can get and talk to him with some of my other grudges or biases that may be incorrect. We'll go into that. Proof of bone.
The funny thing too is when Pulsechain launches, we're going to be treating Ethereum like EthW now, anyway. So there's going to be 7 hexes in a year. So it's inevitable.
See, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if within the next couple weeks we see a proof of stake ETH fork full system state copy, like just maybe with some parameters change, or maybe even not at all, but just like if ETH PoW and Ethf like show any indication of success, and the Hexicans are kind of contributing to that. I think that it's kind of opened this Pandora's box of ETH system state forks, and I think that we'll see a proof of stake one, because a proof of stake one is easier to get going. Like a proof of work, you actually have to get miners to be mining your blocks. Proof of stake, it could just be one guy, And so I do think that this isn't the end of these forks. I think that it could, even if if one of these moons, then we're going to see craziness on that. Kind of like there was like when ICOs first started coming out, there was like, what was the big successful one that like really kicked it off? Like, I don't know if it was like Namecoin or
EOS would have been. EOS was
definitely one of the, but like there was like a big catalyst where like then everyone kind of saw the playbook and just like ran with it. And then in like DeFi, like summer 2020, there was like the food token yield farming, one successful one, and everyone ran with it.
Is it the Pancake Swap or?
Yeah. Well, I think Pancake Swap was kind of on the tail end of that, but like just kind of like as these waves come, it's like one project kind of shows success in a playbook, and then everyone just runs with it. They're like NFTs, like the CryptoPunks, like 10,000 things that all unique. Some have more rare characteristics. The art doesn't even have to be good; just make something. Then everyone ran with it. Like if ETHPOW or ETHPOS or just another one shows success, like we may see a ton of these, and it could be a real headache. And so that's why I even see because in the past I've been I've always had the opinion that like there's no rush for Pulsechain other than people just like wanting to trade it. There's really not much of a rush. I thought that was my previous assessment, but now that there have been these forks and just kind of the interest around these forks, and like if they succeed, and then there's others, like there could be dozens of ETH POS system state forks before Pulsechain launches. And that could be, very dilutive, because like once people latch onto one, it's like they may be very like people that might have been interested in Pulsechain, if they've already latched onto one and like built their personal brand and kind of built their reputation and put their money on the line for that one, that's a hard customer to convert. And so I'm changing. I've changed my perspective on when I think Pulsechain should launch. I actually think that they should just scrap all the scaling stuff, scrap everything different except for like the fee burning and the like sacrifice balances, roll out Pulsechain as just like a direct ETH POS fork, and just scrap everything they've done so far, do that. And then as we need scalability increases, then fork from there to include the things like the faster blocks, larger blocks, perhaps changes in like the validator stuff that they're doing. Like I think there's more urgency to get to market now, just due to this kind of like inkling of, success of these system state forks. Like I'm feeling more urgency is needed on that.
Do you think there's like, I feel like it's like 90% Hexicans in these forks right now. Do you think they're like, do we need like a SHIB or some other altcoin with like a decent community to find ETHW for that to happen? Or you think we're kind of just cannibalizing and it's all Hexicans just, going
like
back?
Like the snake eating its tail.
Exactly. Like,
so it kind of is like right now it is mainly Hex. Like if you look at the volumes and stuff, it is primarily, but it could like if there could be other use cases or other communities that also latch onto it, or just like if they're successful in getting buyers.
do these communities exist? I feel this is like almost like a wake up call out there to either how far ahead we are as a Hex community or how dead a lot of this stuff is that people think that so much is going on, because it's one or the other.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. That like it kind of shows just how, because I think Hexicans are so easy to latch onto it because we've already been thinking about what happens when there's a system state fork. So everyone's been like thinking about this for a year now, and so and we're very receptive to these things. And like I think a lot of Hexicans have always kind of been the counterculture of Ethereum, and so like of course like we are welcoming to something that is counter to like what the mainstream Ethereum group wants, and so. Perhaps that is part of it. But I mean, even aside from just people adopting it, like just if a lot of buyers just are buying ETH PoW or Ethf, like that alone, even without any like actual community adoption of assets on it, like just if those tokens are successful, like just speculate, like people speculating on it, if that drives a run, then that could like spur a lot of these things. But yeah, I mean, I think Hexicans kind of are way ahead of the game as far as this stuff goes, for sure.
Awesome. Now, I didn't want to jump in while you guys were on that thread, but I wanted to welcome Gen Hex to the stream. He's been jumping in the comments like a chihuahua, and I really appreciate his personality and his perspective. So welcome to the stream. And I wanted to also tell J Par and Big Kahuna to reach inside their pocket, see if they find a little wrench there, because we got to keep those wrenches given away, right? How's it going, Craig? Craig, jump in here. You've been watching this whole insanely mostly talk, did a lot of tech talk.
Most of it, I had some company, cousin came from out of town, showed up, but I was listening. I was trying to listen in. My voice is coming back.
You really should have just turned this on and made your cousin watch this, because it will improve his life.
Yeah. What's crypto? Watch this. You guys are crazy. Bye.
Look, it's like online gambling, but people get very upset.
Yeah, I've got some catching up to do too, ever since the whole EthW thing and all this. So I probably I'm not going to have much input on what people are doing or want to be doing right now until I get kind of more caught up. I've watched some of Maddie's stuff about it. That's about it.
Awesome. And have you been keeping up with all of your perps and diamond hands during this mint phase? How many hours do we have right now, Dip Catcher, as of right this second?
Let's see. We've got 555 million hex pooled. 385 of that is in Deci, 74 is in base, 44 million in trio, and 51 million in lucky. 61,400 T-shares. We need 500 more T-shares for the Maxi ecosystem between Maxi, base, trio, lucky, and Deci to be a whale on the stake wrap leagues. We're currently shark number 16 with the Maxi stake alone, but we're 500 T-shares away from becoming as a cohort a whale measured in staker app leagues. And how many of those are there? Like,
how many sharks or whales?
How many whale? Because we're number 16 on the sharks. And
I think there were like 14 whales back in the day that I used to watch.
Yeah, so there's 14 whales. Yeah, so we're about to break into that. I wonder where we'll end up as far as the whale ranking. But yeah, it's close.
Oh, that's insane. So you're shooting for the 5555 first, and then you're shooting for the whale after that, right?
Yeah, I bet if we refresh this like one more time. Well, I don't know. This thing refreshes every 5 minutes. So let's see. Yeah, it hasn't refreshed yet. But literally every time I refresh it, the numbers recalculate every 5 minutes on my website. But yeah, it literally, it's like we wake up like 30 million more in the pool. Like yesterday, someone put 50 million in Deci. Like just out of nowhere. So it's
but they bought and then put it into Deci.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It wasn't just someone who's already sitting on a big fat stack. They wouldn't purchase it just to put it into Deci.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah, that's literally like ideal case scenario. Like the whole point of team is to be like this growth catalyst to try to onboard people into Hex. I mean, that person, I mean, you don't just up and buy 50 million Hex if you're not already actively in the game. You know, that's probably someone that had sold higher and then rebought lower for Deci. But yeah, I mean, that's really the whole purpose of team, is to try to drive like new adoption of new users into Hex through these pools. And so, yeah, we're definitely thinking about other types of pools that are kind of like always ongoing, where there's like always a pool that someone can join, you know, to just kind of give the team people like something to be, you know, driving growth in.
Mm-hmm. Now, aside from the penalties of other people in Diamond Hands, are there other incentives on top of that?
So in Diamond Hands, it is set up to where anybody, for whatever reason they may choose, can just send some team or some Maxi, just airdrop it in there. Just there, some for you guys in the base Diamond Hands. Here, you guys in the trio, here for you guys. And so like it's kind of like this cool like airdrop mechanism that is mainly set up for like, so any user who's incentivized to be wanting to grow these pools. So that's mainly large team holders. Rather than just like, you know, because people could be just like selling their team or selling their yield to be like financing like marketing campaigns. Like one simple marketing campaign is just to increase the incentive for someone to mint the pools and then stake, and so people can airdrop into these reward buckets. And yeah, so that's that can definitely happen, where in addition to the like in the base one, for instance, like in addition to the base rewards you earn by diamond handing base, you also could earn some like team or Maxi if someone just happens to airdrop some in there.
Awesome if that magically happens. I like the way that you put that. We got Hex Live. He's doing family things now. I invited him on here with us. The problem with Hex on EthW is not enough of it in my wallet. Says I stopped my crypto. I agree with that. I think we all have that problem. There's not enough Hex in any of our wallets. We
need more.
Love it. Red Squirrel, I'm very happy with the risk I took on EthW. First couple of days were a huge opportunity. And Mark Belly says their FUD is for the crypto noobs not wanting the responsibility for morons. I think there's a lot to that too. Is like a brand new person may or may not be able to figure out the ins and outs of going from chain to chain. That's definitely well. A lot of questions here for Maddie, but Maddie's not here. So yeah, that's probably its own very own you know, stream, or there probably will be more streams this next week where people are giving their opinion on EthW and what, you know, if it's worth your time, if it's worth your effort, if it's worth your money, right? Because it kind of feels to me like we're stuck between two abusive parents, right? You got ETH POS, which is going to extort you and give it to the VCs, and then you got the ETH proof of work, where you have, you know, the extortion of the miners. So I think that we're stuck between two unhealthy relationships with whoever's validating our network until Pulse comes out. That's like my little. It's really nice to have your own show and get the final word. Although it doesn't make me right by any means. J Par, we're not deleting anyone, many bringing their gains back to the ETH chain. It's truth. It's truth. Stop having scarcity mindset. Let me see if I can scroll down to not so much about ETH POW and that more towards some of the questions about Maximus team, Perps, and Diamond Hands. Every time I hear Perps, I think that I'm watching Law and Order.
Yeah.
I always think of Brizology.
I
think of Brizology every time I hear it, you know.
You're getting locked up. Locking up all the Hex.
He seems like a perp.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Rizky's no, it won't. It'll get you a hell of a lot more Hex on EthW. It takes time and effort to be a smart speculator. Finbear's in the house, hanging out. Mark Belli says, "Mommy, T mommy," and he's got bottles. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Let me actually go. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. Jiminy Christmas! I think I've missed about 4,000.
Well, you better get the wrenches out. It looks like you got some gray.
Oh, I can't have any gray. Definitely can't have any gray. So what would you guys, if you were onboarding someone today into the Hex game, what advice would you give them? We'll start with Adam and go to Craig and go to Dip Catcher. Like, you got a cousin, a friend, a neighbor, an ex coworker coming out and being like, what do we do?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, I'm actively doing that right now. And what is the downside risk right now? You know, from moving forward with Hex, with, you know, the market. You know, I'm telling people, just slow down, take it easy, don't rush it, and just ECA in, but maybe extend that time horizon a little bit. And, you know, we got more interest rate hikes coming. I mean, there's a lot of the Shemitah stuff that, you know, people are talking about, so things could get interesting. So for me, I'm just telling people the downside risk right now, I don't think is more than another 50, 60%. So take that into consideration, but, you know, do your own research. The upside is tremendous. And again, you're still going to get your copies of everything on Pulsechain when that comes out. So it's still a 2-for-1. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay. And what about you, Craig? What would you say to your cousin if he came over and said, "Tell me about this crypto thing. I've got $300, $1,000, and I'd like to put into it and learn about it"?
I'd probably say that for somebody that, I mean, there's some people that are in different stages, right? So you have no coiners that don't know anything about crypto in general. You've got other people that maybe have heard of Bitcoin, have bought SHIB on Robinhood or something like that. You've got other people that have maybe been trying to trade, buy and sell on Robinhood, Coinbase, something, you know. So it really probably depends on your onboard, which stage they're in. And if they've heard of Hex or not. They could have been tainted a little bit by hearing FUD about Richard Hart or Hex or something. But if we're going for just a basic no coiner, somebody that's like, hey, you mess with crypto, what would you tell me to do with, you know, $300 or something? And I would just explain to them that, you know, I'm into Hex, I'm into Richard Hart ecosystem. There's a lot of stuff going on, but right now we're in a lull. This is when the market comes down. It's had a run up. Crypto in general has had a run up. There's bull markets, there's bear markets, but not to overwhelm them with too much information. Just let them know that right now is the time you want to try to get in, even with your $300, because it's at an all-time high of over 50 cents. It's down now to around 3 cents. And when it's running up and the price is getting higher is not when you want to get in. You want to get in now while you can get more bang for your buck. And then it takes time. There's cycles involved. And just, this is what I'm doing. If you do it too, take your $300, get into this. And as time goes on and they learn a little bit more, maybe they can get more involved in learning more about what's going to happen when Pulsechain comes out, getting a double, if they've staked or not, kind of wean them into it. Because if you come right out of the gate, start talking about Maximus and team and, EthW and all this different stuff, you're probably going to blow them out of the water, paralyzation by whatever, too much information, paralyzing. So I'd say with a no coiner cousin on board or something, keep it simple. Just tell them, say, look, if you got $300, I recommend, not financial advice, but this is what I would do with it. Just for starters, just get you some Hex. And then you might even explain, like, there is another thing called Pulsechain. Maybe give them the basics of it. It's going to be coming out hopefully sooner than later. And whatever Hex you have, you're going to get a double of that. Maybe just keep it simple at first, just to get them in the door. Because I think if you overwhelm them with too much information and they don't even understand crypto in general, they might put their eggs in too many baskets. And then it's going to take forever to see any kind of yield. And what they do see yield, it might not be very much. And then they may just lose interest and, go back to their dumb trying to buy Apple stock or something,
Awesome.
My opinion.
Awesome. That's good advice. And what about you, Dip Catcher? You still run into possible onboards or people asking you how to get into this crypto thing?
Yeah. I mean, so what I tell people actually is to just like build up like dollar cost into ETH build that up until it's, because if it's just like $100 a time and like you're doing the trading fees, like the transfer, the approval, the swap, like that can kind of eat into it. So I just tell them to kind of build up some ETH, like, over the course of a couple of weeks or months, and then just buy some Hex with it. And that there's really no rush to like just be staking. Like I basically, before the perpetual pools, I've actually recommended everyone that I onboarded not to stake at all. Everyone after big payday. So I pretty much tell people not, because I was like, look, you can earn at like, whatever percent, but the price can do that in a single day. And so I've actually been, especially as the fees got really bad, I was like, look, like you don't really need to stake. So most people I've onboarded in the last couple of years actually weren't staking. And so now that they're the pools, like if someone's brand new, they're just kind of getting into it, I think just getting the Hex and just holding the Hex is totally fine. Like as just like a starting point. And then as if they want to start staking and as they kind of learn about that, then I think the pools are like a really good, easy way to do it, where you can pretty much just like choose one, you just click go, and then you don't have to think about like ending it. You don't have to pay for the fees. And there's like a nice kind of sales pitch there with the, you earn more than staking on your own. You save 99% on fees and you can cash out at any time. And so, definitely like the first step is just getting into Hex, because like, that even just holding liquid Hex is totally a good solution. And so then as they kind of gain more interest and as their bag gets a little bigger, and it makes sense to start staking, then, then I, think the pools are a great way to onboard those people from there. But yeah, I generally, my kind of advice is to actually build up the ETH bag so that you can then buy Hex and not be chopped up by fees, like buying into Hex like every week, with like $100. And if the fee is, $6 or whatever, like I can't remember the last time I swapped, but right now if we looked on Etherscan, it'd probably like $5 to $7 per swap. Like that's like 7% of, including the approval and the transfer, like 7% of that $100. Whereas if you turn it into $1,000, then that 7 is like 0.7%. So, that's kind of my general like new beginner onboarding is to just like get the ETH, get familiar with MetaMask, and then just like in larger transactions to then just be buying your Hex.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Now, I did have a question. Are the perpetuals going to be HSI stakes or are they going to be native stakes?
Native.
They're going to be native. Okay, great. And I had another question, but I forgot it. So anyways, I was going to say, when I usually talk to people, I ask them how much money they can, like how much, if they were to lose this amount of money, could they sleep at night? Whether it's, so for some people it's $50, for some people it's, $100,000, and depending on where they're at financially. And then I tell them to put maybe 5 or 10% more than that in there just to get their attention so that they're thinking about it, but they're not freaking out. And then I tell them to think about a 5-year time horizon and, try to get them staked out to whatever their lifestyle is or whatever their goals are in the next 5 years. Because I used to just do 2 years because I was hoping that would at least pay for the fees and make up for the market. But seeing that we're still in this 4-ish year cycle in crypto and will be in a 4-ish year cycle until we're not, I always like to try and have some stakes ending on a spike, because that's obviously when you want to take some profit, right? Oh, that was the question. That was the other question, Dipcatcher. Were you guys thinking about the 2024, 2025 halvening spike and the 2028, 2029 spike when you were coming up with base, trio, lucky, and desi? Or is that
not really
the laddering kind of way to go?
So not thinking about like, because it's impossible to predict exactly when that spike will be. And since like everyone's already kind of thinking about it, like it kind of gets priced in and it kind of just like, I mean, even like this, like the latest Bitcoin cycle, it didn't look like the normal ones. It kind of just like, rather than like a big explosive up followed by a big wick down, it was more like it kind of just ranged in that like 30 to 60K range over like a year pretty much. And it kind of had that double top. And so even, and that's because everyone kind of, if everyone thinks it's going to happen, everyone's preparing for it, then that's kind of then what everyone thinks is going to happen doesn't happen. And so it's very hard to predict exactly like when you're going to be there, but there was some thinking with like the 3-year being, 1 year off of like if we run on these 4-year cycles, then having a 3-year cycle that it's going to be passing through the different phases of that 4-year cycle, where like the first time it's going to end like 3/4 of the way. The next time it's like halfway through. The next time it's 1/4 of the way. Next time it's like right at the end. And it just kind of cycles through like that 3-year cycle kind of phases through the 4-year. So now it was more thinking along that, so that like at least one out of the 4 trios, like over the next 12 years, at least one out of those is probably going to end at a very nice time. And also, I mean, it also means that one of those may end at like the lows of a bear market, which is good too for new people joining the pools, because new people can come in with new cash, buy more hex, and then and then mint into the pools at lower dollar like cost basis. So that the cycling, I think, kind of it presents a good opportunity kind of no matter what happens. Like if it's at the top, then that's a good selling opportunity. If it's at the bottom, that's a good buying and like minting opportunity. So it's kind of there's kind of something that it was more thinking about that as opposed to just trying to time the tops, because it's impossible to time the tops. And then for the 7-year, that kind of like lengthens it, because like it's the same thing but like over 2 cycles. Like 7 cycles through the 8-year phase at different points in time, and that one's like much larger earnings, and much more because even in that one, it's like compared to Trio, the lucky one, within that whole 7-year time frame, there's going to be the whole like premium discount cycle, and so perhaps like the premium of lucky times up with the max hex price during like the next cycle. And then the lucky people just have massive performance from that. The ones that are able to, because as people sell into that premium, the premium turns into not a premium. And so like there's going to be some percent of the people in lucky that are able to kind of time that. And since it's long enough to kind of let the premium and discount cycle run, there could be some really awesome opportunities for lucky holders in that kind of with that like cycle, like the long-term cycle offset. So
awesome.
That was more the thinking.
Now, and Maxi is not a perpetual, right?
Mm-mm.
It's not going to automatically get staked, but the base is automatically going to get staked, and the trio and lucky and desi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that people will have an opportunity at the end of the first year to join base, or
yeah.
So it'll actually just snowball, but all of the hex that's minted into base will forever be perpetually rolled. Is that correct?
So say right now you mint base at the 1-to-1 rate. After a year, base will probably earn like 12%. So after 1 year, your one base will be redeemable for 1.12 hex. So you can choose to either redeem it at that 1.12 rate, or you can just stay in the pool. You don't have to do anything, and you get automatically rolled into the next year. Or you can add new hex to the pool, and you now mint base at that 1.12 rate. So you need 1.12 hex per base token minted at that next cycle.
Okay. So the rate is going to change, but you'll still be able to mint and add to that snowball every year for base, every 3 years for trio, and so forth.
Yeah. And even though the number goes up, it's actually like that is done so that the new people aren't paying the old people. It's like it's like as if that stake had just like ended. Like if everyone in base redeemed, then to like if they were to like just remint, then they're minting at the same like 1.12 rate per base. So it's like they're coming in with 1.12 hex per base at that start of the second cycle, and so new people coming in are also coming in at that same rate, since like their base had accumulated that much over that time. So it seems like the next staker is paying a higher rate, but it's because the existing people, they're coming in with that same amount. So everyone who's joining into that next stake is joining at 1.12 hex per base, whether you had it there already or if you're coming in with new hex.
Okay, cool. And then CD Ramon. Oh, by the way, JPAR and Michael Light, and just to text, you guys all got wrenches, so reach inside your pocket, have fun with that little wrench there. We've got, he says, you probably touched on this, but any ideas on incentivizing team acquisition from end of mint phase to end of first year?
So
Mac, I gotta run before you go. I don't want to interrupt you, but I gotta jump off. I gotta actually jump on a call with new onboard here. So
hey,
awesome.
There you go.
Yeah,
well, man, great chatting with you.
Yeah,
bro,
thank you very much for joining us, Adam.
And
we'll be in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks, man.
Guys. See you soon.
All right, so go ahead, Tonto.
Oh yeah, so so incentivizes team. So I'm not going to say anything specific just right now. We'll kind of wait a little bit until after the mint phase is done. But there are some really solid ideas for different types of contracts that the team community can work together to build that would actually deliver income like at the start. Because like all the pools, they deliver income at the end. Like at the end of base is when it gets paid. End of lucky is when it gets paid. But there are some new types of things that some of us have been swirling around that could just deliver income sooner than later. And then so that would be something to like, that would incentivize people for like wanting to join in year 2. Or maybe, what if in a couple of weeks we launch a 2-year stake cycle, or something like that pays out in that second year. That would encourage people to be buying in this first year to stake for that next year. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that the team can do to try to drive that.
Awesome. KD says, I'm saving all my dry powder for Pulsechain. Michael Light says, Hex is 3 cents. Why wait? I agree. DCAing is it's a great time to DCA, whether it goes up or down. It's a great time to DCA. And freedom loving Pulse Hex Hexican. That's a title. He is agreeing, keeping his dry powder for Pulse and Pulse Hex. Benny Blanca says, I'd say buy Hex and dump it into Desi. JPAR says, I shill Pulse like shamelessly all the time. It's the only one. RH says not to be a trader. EthW, Ethf are going to be ghost chains once Pulsechain launches. Paralysis by analysis says Sandy Beach. Good to see you, Sandy Beach. And if it dips again, buy more at that price. In time, Hex will head back towards another all-time high. And with a P-Hex pump, that could be substantial. That's a good point there. Stake and chill. Enjoy a potential copy too. Jen Hex says, yes, that's what I was aiming for, but my mouth wasn't working. We need someone to do sign language for you, Jen Hex. We don't need you losing your voice here.
Well, it's analysis by paralysis. Just didn't want to come out of my mouth. It's like from coding. It's been too long. With the DCA thing, I just wanted to interject that with the DCA, people that maybe got in what they think they were kind of late, like after Pulse Sacrifice, and maybe the first Hex they ever bought was 25 cents or 30 cents or even 40 cents. The more you DCA in at 3 cents, the more you're lowering the average of what you've paid.
Yeah, speaking to the people
quicker,
who were
you're going to do it
at like 40 cents and 20 cents this last year, this is their chance to like you said, average that out, right?
Yeah. So if it's beating you up, they're like, well, I don't know, man. I bought some at 40 and I don't even know if I want to get any more. And if you're in this and you truly believe this and you believe in Richard and all the things that are going to come from Pulse X, Maximus, Hedron, all these different things that are happening right now. Just while you were streaming, I've noticed Gwei has gone everywhere from 3 Gwei all the way up to 23 Gwei. I don't know what's going on ETH today, but it's been in the single digits a lot over the last, probably at least last month or so. Usually there was all these NFT things going on and it was always high, but right now with 3 cent Hex and Gwei in the single digits, if you want to just even accumulate more Hex as dry powder, or like Dipcatcher was saying, if ETH or whatever you're doing, I mean, don't wait till it goes up and then wish you had got more when it was down. I mean, it's doing it right now. It's like it's on sale right now. So if that's your plan, what are you waiting for?
If people just suck all they can out of the new proof of work chains and pump it into Pulse, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. This is JPAR. Marcavelli, and then tell them there's 47 new chains they can TCA in. Stake your Hex till February, and you'll feel like a king when the Fed flips. When the Fed flips, because I guess he's talking about the Fed stopping raising interest rates and going back to quantitative easing, which that'll be interesting. Benny Blanco, easiest thing is to DCA into Hex until Pulse launches. Yep. Pull and chill, not bad too. Responding to Dip Catcher. Diamond Hands, Nate Stakes says thank you. The Diamond Hands. Start with instant liquidity on Pulse, and that's priceless. Katie says the Hex community already has a difficult time rising the Hex price up, let alone buying Hex on another chain that nobody cares about in the future. I will say, I can only imagine without Maximus coming out and all the money that has been put into the perpetuals and team, I can only imagine. I think that we would have already hit a penny by now if that 300 million that went in, close to 300 million that went into Maxi was still on the market and in weak hands. And if the what did you say? What are you guys at right now with the Perps and team?
It's now at 557 million.
If you guys don't understand what that's doing right now to protect your Hex price, then you don't understand everything that Richard Hart has been saying about number go up over the last 5 years to us. 50-50 chill, rising tide lifts all ships, stuck in an abusive relationship. Yep. Hello there. Just started raining here. I was unable to get to the lake before. Trading on another chain with weak bridges is a security risk. We as a community should know better. I apologize to the huge group of comments I wasn't able to get to. I usually don't have this many popular guests on my stream, so I usually don't have this much engagement. So it's a good problem to have. But cryptographics.
That's why I hopped on. That's why I hopped on. I hoped it would help lower the amount of comments.
People will be like, Craig's here, I'm out.
I got nothing to ask. He doesn't know
graphics gang. We have an amazing project launching right now, Maximus DAO, etc. Yeah, when he says, what's good? Hepray, Dictator, Vibra, Craig, good to see you guys. Just a lot of people. Are the pools bigger than all the Hex on ETH POW? My guess is that they are, right?
Is that so? Sorry, I was replying. Is our pools bigger than all the Hex on ETH POW? I don't know. I actually haven't really paid much attention to the size of the pools on the proof of work chains. I know a lot of people are at literally. I get messages about, hey, what's the URL for those? Even though I tweet it all the time for those pools, but I actually haven't really looked. And the dashboards, the API that I use to pull all that data doesn't support those forks. So if people want to look at how big they are, just go look on the block explorers on those.
Awesome. Russ says we can all get lucky now. That's right.
Yeah, lucky's my favorite.
It says my first wrench. I'm driving and don't know what to do. Haha. If you're driving, you sure are texting a lot for driving. Maybe is that a Tesla in his profile pic? I don't know.
May need that wrench to fix your car after you run off the road. Trying to.
DC is 11. Did he just say number goes up? What's the LP pair of the LP pair of the pools? So, because you're going to have LP pairs on all of the exchanges between all of these pools, which is a really easy way to swing trade between the different perpetuals, perps.
Yeah, I mean I tweeted. There's an image I tweeted a couple days ago when the first ETH chain came out, and it showed because now it's like if you have Hex, Maxi, Team, Base, Trio, Lucky, Desi. That's seven coins, 7 pairs on 3 different chains. So that's 21 little things, and just I showed what it looks like to a market across every possible combination of those, and it was insane. And that was before Ethf. So now there's 4. If you include Pulsechain. It's pretty wild.
Wow, JPAR isn't this much funner than waiting around asking when lunch? Yes, I think so. Michael Life says so. If Maxi and Hedron and Icos are so good for Hex, Why can't we see any positive price pressure? How is this helping? Isn't removing supply the same tangent as market cap? Yes and no. 'Cause like I said, I think that if we weren't locking all this stuff up into contracts and into delayed gratification, we would see much lower price on the Hex right now. That's my guess.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the price goes up when new buyers come in, and so like that's like the main driver, and we're absorbing potential sellers, but absorbing potential sellers that doesn't push the price up. It just prevents it from going down. You know, it reduces the number of people that could sell, and so it reduces the amount of new buy pressure required to, you know, per percent increase. But yeah, I mean, you know, price goes up when new buyers come in, and you know, it's like a bear market now, and they, you know, they're you know, not a lot of new buyers, and as far as, I mean, because like buying into the perpetuals, that's just buying Hex. You know, like buying some of the other tokens, that's a little different. You know, but also, I mean, that's like I think that that no one should really have the expectation that people are only going to buy the things that you want them to buy. You know, like everyone is free to do whatever they want with their money. And so like like to me, the no expectations things even applies to all other market participants, where I don't expect anyone to buy the coins that I want. And when people criticize that things are like diluting demand, it's like, that's called free market competition. And I think that you know, while things can be competitive for Hex, that is actually a really strong thing, because if without any competition, like how can Hex grow stronger? And so I actually think it's a good thing that there is strong competition, you know, kind of taking, you know, absorbing people's capital, because it's like, if we didn't have that, then like how can Hex like evolve its narrative? How can, you know, we evolve our tactics? And you know, so like it's like it sucks in the sense that it doesn't push the price up. You know, it's like pushing other things price up, but I think it does create a scenario where Hex can grow stronger as a result. And that's you know, that's because like any incremental buyer, that's like pushing the price up today, but like what pushes us up thousands of X over the next decade, like that's the type of the strength that Hex needs. And perhaps that can come with, you know, in the face of other strong competitors.
Right. And you got to also realize that all the money that's coming into Hex has to first go in through all the other on-ramps, which are basically Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. Right. So almost all the money coming in and out of the crypto market is flowing through an exchange into one of the main coins or one of the stable coins. And then it's showing up, you know, in our ecosystem. So until we get our own on-ramps and off-ramps for fiat and other things to decouple from that whole flow of economic energy, then that's really all you could. You're at the mercy of the whole ecosystem of crypto, right? And then Big Huna says perpetuals are 61,700 T shares. If you want to get nerdy, you'd say 61.7 Q shares, because every 1,000 T shares is actually Q share. I don't know why that never took off. Probably because, you know, only a handful of rich people have them. But yeah, so that's an insane amount of T shares. Buying Hex, everything pumps everything. Boom. How does a dip catcher make money for his efforts?
I mean, I have a rich wife.
That's good. So the answer is sugar mama.
And this isn't the only way I make. This isn't the only way I make money.
Yeah, this isn't the first thing you and Dip Catcher have been involved in, right? Like you guys met in college. Is that correct?
So me and Golki, we grew up together. So we're childhood friends. And then we didn't go to college together. But then right after college, we worked on a startup together. And so that startup, it was a virtual reality camera and a 3D photo sharing app for iOS. It was like the first VR photo sharing app on the iPhone. And so we were doing that for a couple of years. That's what got us into crypto, because one of our investors was a crypto company that had an ICO. So this ICO so they like were paying us in their token, and that was a whole crazy ride. And that's what really taught us kind of the ropes of crypto. was getting like where our money coming into our startup was in crypto. And so that's just like learning about crypto that way. That's how I found Richard Hart. But then we ended up shutting that startup down in like early 2019. And then we joined a legal tech startup. And that one was a pretty good success. And that one is, and so like the product that Goki and I built, it helped like over 100,000 people get like tens of millions of dollars in legal settlements from big Fortune 500 companies that had screwed them over. So we built that together, and then I left that to just be just kind of focused more on crypto stuff. And so, you know, outside of like this stuff that I do here, I do some like investment consulting for, you know, private individuals. So that's kind of my day job, is to be, you know, aiding, you know, certain people in their investments. So
yeah, you're a busy dude. Now, did your wife make it to Vegas?
No, she didn't come. She couldn't just take off, because we've been to so many weddings this year that she's already taken off so much time, and so it wasn't going to work out for her to just come, you know, take a note, because we were just at a wedding where she'd taken off basically the whole week before, like in the week before then. So she's a critical member of her team, and so she can't just like take off work to go to Vegas.
Hex Life says I put all my liquid Hex in. Still need to do the same on EthW and Ethf. Is there a front end for Ethf? You guys know if there's one?
Yeah, it is. I'll type it here.
Where do people find the front ends for Maximus DAO and team?
So
and the Perps?
I just sent the one for the in the private chat. I send the link for the ePoW ones. So that includes Ethf and EthPW, and then perpetuals.maximus.cash and team.maximus.
Okay, I'm throwing these in the chat where you guys can find those as well. Awesome. So that's the front end for people to get into those.
Mm-hmm.
And one more here. And then Marcavelli says, if the glove does not fit, you must acquit. I'm not even sure what he's referring to in chat or in stream to that. But if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. I'll go with that.
Seinfeld reference, and I think it was something we were talking about earlier. Just maybe it just fit with that brief second of conversation. I think it's been a little while ago.
Okay. Katie says I'm buying Hex Maximus product. Chat's moving fast. OL. Hex Live, nice. That's what I did on ETF, EthW. Went degen into Maximus DAO projects, so I can let those forks marinate. That is nice. So if I go into base, there's really nothing I have to do until the moment that I want to redeem that base for its yield, correct?
Yeah, you can.
Any of the perps.
Yeah. You don't have to do anything, and you don't even have to do anything. Yeah, like you can just and like depending on your own situation, some people would prefer to sell the token, and some people would prefer to redeem it, just based on if they want to realize it as like income or realize it as like a capital gain sell. And so you kind of have that option there, because during when the first stake ends and there's like the 7-day minting and redemption phase, because it's both mintable and redeemable at the same redemption rate, the price will kind of just hug around there, where anytime it's above it, it's like an arbitrage opportunity. Anytime it's below it, it's an arbitrage opportunity. So it just kind of like flattens out. So like the price can go wherever until the redemption phase. And then during that redemption phase, it just goes flat. And then it kind of goes along on its own path there. So you don't actually need to redeem. And even if you miss the redemption window, you can just sell it right after. And you know, with the base specifically, I think there's kind of always going to be a buyer at a close to fair market value, because it's like it's redeemable in such a short period of time that you know, that if you're buying, if like the price goes any tiny percent below its like net asset value, then it's like you're earning a year's yield in like 9 months, or like a year's yield in 6 months. And so I think the base will probably be very liquid. And so, you know, even if you don't redeem and you miss out on that 7-day redemption window, you can just sell it, and you'll probably maybe even get more if like the market starts pricing in the next redemption phase. So
Wow. Okay, but then on team isn't the same way, right? At the end of your team stake, the first year, you're required to take action.
So at any point during the year, you have to take action to lock in for the next year. So for instance, tomorrow night, the team staking for the first year ends. Then starting then, you can lock in to the next year by clicking the button on the dashboard that says extend stake. So you can extend it into the next cycle at any time during that year. And so you don't have there's no tight 7-day window that you need to take action in. You can take that action at any time during the year if you want to roll into the next one. Or if it's during that 7-day one, you won't click extend stake, you'll click restake team. So you can always roll forward into the next year just at any time during the current year.
Awesome. And then if once you stake for the next year, you're eligible for all the incentives or payouts and yield from that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Crypto Gains Club, you got a wrench. Hex Live Nice. That's what I did on Ethf, EthW. Oh, I just read that. All right, let's read the next one. Are you kidding? My highest buy was 49 cents. Couldn't be happier. And Gen Hex is here too. I'm going to read that as a hopeful one from Finn Bear, because it could go either way. It could be and Gen Hex is here too. So I don't know. I can't do his accent very well, but there we go. Finn Bear's in the house. Oh, you already said hi, Tim. Good on you. You guys are doing better in the chat than I am. Is Desi initial offering ending tonight?
In 24 hours, 27 hours. So tomorrow night.
Okay. Might be interesting, but complicated to come up with a daily increase rate to account for yield and allow people to enter diamond-handed into BTLD.
We thought about that, but we really wanted to get it out before the the stake cycle started. And I mean, maybe that would have been a way we could have just not been not rolled it out so soon. But yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to do it. We just thought, okay, the simplest possible way is better. And, maybe there's other, because everything that we build is just modular on top of everything that already exists. So that's not to say that's the only diamond hand contract you could join. What if we could create a different, maybe this one is just kind of the normal one, but then we have a really aggressive diamond hand one for other cohorts of users. And so, yeah, I mean, there can absolutely be other types of diamond hand staking thing. The one we did was just the first one. But there's some other things that we'd like to build sooner than just more diamond hand stuff for the perpetuals.
Awesome. Michael Light says delivering the idea of supporting Hex with a product and approaching Hexican seems like the best game in town for a lot of new projects. Agree with that. 557 million for Desi. Big Kahuna likes the rich wife. He's a big fan of that. Swizzle Sticks wants a sugar mama. And Sandy Beach is really touched with you and Gold Key are besties from childhood. That's really nice.
Yeah, we have some funny photos of us as kids.
Yeah, Love Eternal and investment in Maxi. That's awesome. They fired you for coming to work shirtless one too many times. Yeah, I've noticed you definitely keep your your nipples out of the frame. So I think, is that to just keep from getting a strike there?
No, I think it's just the angle that my camera is in. Maybe I need to give you guys more of a show.
It gets warm in front of the computer. At least here it does. They're enjoying the O.J. Simpson quote. These are super important. I've used them 120 times in the last 2 days. Thank you for the links. Thank you, Dipcatcher, for front ends. Front ends essential. Thanks, man. And then DC, are you going to do a live stream tomorrow when minting ends?
Yeah, I'll probably live stream all day long tomorrow.
You're one of the only people that stream more than me and Craig here. What were you saying, Craig?
I was gonna say I wasn't paying attention for a second because I was going diamond hands with some base.
There we go.
Boom.
And I just started talking about nipples for some reason. Kind of threw me off for a second. I didn't know.
Nipple. Sorry, I didn't need
myself
to
into.
mention nipples while you're in the middle of serious.
Sorry, I was working
diamond hand work.
I was trying to work my my hard wallet, man. Come on.
What are the odds that either fork just vanish with all the wealth vanishing with it? I don't know. I mean, like, good. I mean, they're these are new forks. You know, they don't. They're developing communities, and so I think the most valuable thing you have in crypto is coders and community, because those are the two things that seem to be the hardest to find in crypto.
I mean, the way these forks could vanish, not even where the fork vanishes, but you know that RPC URL that you paste into MetaMask, that could just stop being hosted, and then like most users wouldn't know what to do. You have
they wouldn't know how to find the contract and paste it.
Well, it's not just the contract. You'd have to run your own full node of the network and then read straight from the network. Like the RPC URL that you paste in there is just something that is hosted by whoever. Like I think like the ETH PoW team, they host an RPC link. There's more for ETH, but the one that is used by default for everyone is the Infura ones. But there are others on ETH. Like there's certainly more option. Like where if one goes down, there are other options, and like there's plenty of people to do those. But on these new networks, there may not be many people that actually run their own nodes or host reliable RPC URLs. And so even if the chain could still be running, but if etherfair.org decides to stop paying their hosting bill, then your connection to the network that you relied on may just suddenly be gone. So that's kind of how that's more likely than like the forks vanishing. It's just like your ability to access it just becomes harder. And then only if you're motivated enough, someone who's motivated enough may stand up a new RPC URL and run a node and do all that. But yeah, you could lose your connection on these ones if something happens, and that's like the most likely way that you lose access.
Cool. Just text says yes about the arbitrage opportunity during redemption or restaking. Yes, I also think that's true, like you talked about with Trio and others. So you have the arb opportunity between the unredeemed perps and the market value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. Yeah. Crypto Gains 369 says I went diamond hands on all my perps. And
Nice.
Crypto Summer says my cousin didn't even know they used a laugh track talking about Seinfeld. He nearly killed me when I told him they used a laugh track. Sad. Didn't feel right leaving those chips on the table. I hear you. Hex Logic says wrench me up. Oh, Hex Logic, all you got to do is ask, man. We are free, and there's an abundance of wrenches in my ecosphere here. And here's Gold Key just showed up. I got to wrench that dude for sure. You got one, Rothko. You got a wrench, and Hex Logic. Here we go. Boom. Reach inside your pocket, and you'll find a brand new shiny wrench. Congratulations, guys. Diamond Hands will definitely give you that extra payout if you go too long. Gold Key having enjoying some of this. It was great hanging out with him in Vegas. Both of you guys. Yay, DCA. Awesome. Because Hex is the common denominator, all these products are awesome with me. Dipcatcher is live streaming every day. Love the dedication. And there's also ETF, Hex, Hedron, etc. It's cheaper. Thank God someone phrased this logic properly. Thanks, DC. Can't wait for the duo pool. Gold Keys got the wrench. What about what to buy other than Hex Hedron on EthW? More EthW? I don't know. I think I'd probably just go over there and lock everything up and put it to work while we're waiting to see what happens on the chains. Gold Key says, boom. Gold Key needs a wrench. We got him a wrench. Can you get a reshine on my wrench? I reached inside my pocket and it's filthy. Dude, Rinsky's, that sounds like you're responsible for that problem. Marcovelli, I was referencing analysis paralysis with fit acquit, now rhyming over emphasis the perceived truth. Okay, cool. That's great. Yeah. So like I said, we've got from the clock flipping over in a couple hours, and then 24 hours, and that's it, right?
Yeah. It's then what we do there is we just on Etherscan, just click start stake on base, and then we run finalize minting on team, and then we just we start stake on all the stakes, and then just run finalize minting on team, and then that's it.
Yeah, Michael says miner costs are high if the chains don't hold up value. The miner costs just go up and down with the activity of the chain, as far as I understand, right?
Yeah, like so if like there's not a lot of activity, then or like if the earnings that they get are low from the fees, meaning either there's not much activity happening, so not a lot of fee payers, and if the inflation that they get is just not worth much, like because they're earning the EthW inflation or whatever coin it is, then less people mine. But then as less people mine, mining becomes easier, and it kind of resets that like minimum threshold of like profitable mining in terms of like cost per kilowatt hour that the miner is able to procure. So as it goes down, it makes it easier to mine, but then if it trends all the way down, and then maybe only people that have assets on those chains that they want to be able to operate will mine. So maybe the end result is that if the price of ETH PoW goes down, but Hexicans really love their ETH PoW coins, maybe Hexicans will just be miners, which would be kind of funny. That's one solution, to have like a hex only chain, is to just like absorb a dying chain.
I like that. Now, who did the design on the Maximus DAO website? I really like that layout.
Goki did all the design.
It looks great. Looks really great.
Yeah, it's really good.
Marcovelli says too many isses.
I got to take off, guys. I got to get to store stuff before they close.
Right.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Take care.
Yeah, enjoy the Kroger brand cough syrup. Get some naps in.
I was nipping the cough syrup on stream. Now everybody thinks I got this NyQuil addiction. I don't cook my chicken in it. Those are all hearsay, it's rumors.
You're going to end up with an intervention next time you show up in Vegas.
I know.
We're going to have a bunch
to
of
keep my voice
chairs in a semicircle.
Yeah. So you guys have a good weekend. What's left of it? We'll see you later.
Thanks for all you guys. I was going to wrap it up too. We're about 2 hours now. Look for these replays on podcast form on Spotify. We're slowly ripping the audio and putting them up there. And just going back and listen to some of the older tech talks, I'm blown away by the alpha and the information that are shared with our community. And I'm a pretty decent host too sometimes. So take that with a grain of salt. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for coming and joining this tech talk. And I'm really excited to see what we end up tomorrow as the clock ticks over. So thanks again.
Crazy.
Thanks to Adam, who was able to hang out for a second. Thank you very much to Maddie Allen. I look forward to continuing this conversation about risk versus reward and trying to get our technicals right for our community. I appreciate that too. So you guys are awesome. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully they have plenty of cough syrup there at the store for you, Craig, and we'll see you guys later.
All right. Take care. Thanks for having me.
You guys.